Fame fascinates everyone. Some people crave it, some envy it, but the reality is nothing like the fantasy and the idealized version of what people think it is. Today, we're breaking down a clip from Cardi B that shows fame isn't always empowering. It can actually be dehumanizing. I'm QBenjamin, a recording artist from Canada, and this is Dirty Chai Media, music and culture rooted in faith. Let's get into it. So, there's this clip from Cardi B floating around. She basically is talking about what it's like to be famous and in her position. Here's what she said.
Y'all think because us celebrity, we make a little money and we make a little this, like, it's like, bitch, I have feelings too, ho. I ain't no chopped liver. So maybe that's why I'm sometimes like the punching bags. And sometimes people be like, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop being this. You need to be more like them. And it's like, they feel the same way I feel too. They want to tell these people, you and your mom, and your dad, and your whole bloodline. How the fuck are you talking on me? You, trust me, they want to say that. They want to say that.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
But I'll be the one to say it. But that's because sometimes it do feel good to you. Bitch, you. I'll be the one.
Honestly, it just made me think because I kind of relate to that. On a smaller scale, I won a singing competition back in 2008, and by 2011, I was signed. Things between that ended up snowballing really quickly. And even on a micro level, you start attracting people that see you as a symbol, not a person. Some people are drawn to your light. They're drawn to you because of what they think you can do for them, how you're going to make them look. And other people just want to use your light. And that's why I've learned to stay discerning about who I let close, because it actually attracts a lot of energy vampires as well, and a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy, hatred, even on the level that I've experienced. You're living, growing, and making mistakes in front of other people, and they feel like that gives them license to have comments or judgments on that. People often project their own expectations, who they think you are, and then judge you when you don't fit their expectations or some idealized version of you that they created in their own mind. And for artists, I think that's especially jarring, and it's tough because we're so sensitive. Our creativity often comes from being sensitive and our hypersensitivity and the ways that we view the world as a result of that. And we feel everything very deeply. And so it's a really hard position to be in, especially when you feel like other people don't understand that. The isolated component where people closest to you don't even understand what you're going through because they're not in your position, or for even new friends or people that are close to you that haven't really been there for the whole journey and don't really understand it. In my opinion, like, it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to also withstand all of the struggles that come with being famous on any level, whether it's like a small scale, a local scale, or like a level like Cardi B's. I think it takes so much emotional fortitude, so much emotional intelligence. And I think in those positions, a lot of artists try to keep producing, to keep performing, hoping it'll drown out what's actually going on. But that pressure builds until your body and your mind forces you to slow down. In my faith and my personal relationship with God, with Christ specifically, ended up being a huge anchor for me in moments like this and around this topic. And one of those was Galatians 1:10, resonated in this context. And it says, "Am I now trying to win the approval of people or of God?" That verse checked me, because if I was still living for people's approval, I'd never find peace. If I didn't find some type of spiritual grounding, I wouldn't even understand that there's more to life. I was seeking something that fame or the approval of people or their validation was never going to give me anyways. Today you prove yourself to people and they're happy, and then tomorrow they're still questioning credibility. So it's like an endless loop that you keep going back to be able to prove yourself and to seek validation from people whose validation is fleeting to begin with. People praise you one day and they criticize you the next, and you'll never win that game. What I've learned is if you live for the praise of people, you'll also die by their criticism, mentally, emotionally, and some people literally. And I don't think it's worth your life. And that's why, like, another impactful verse that people quote endlessly is, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?" After having that epiphany, I create now for the love of it, for the craft, for the calling, and for the one who gave me the gift. And just to honor the talents that I was born with, given, that I've developed, that I've worked hard for over the scope and span of years to become better at and to express myself through and communicate through and to find connection. So the question I've been asking myself in this season, and honestly what I'm asking y'all too, is how do we stay grounded when everything around us rewards image over integrity? Answer that in the comments below. And if you like this video, make sure you subscribe, like, and drop me a comment. See you guys on the next one.